Yo, what's going on, people? Raps on TV. We're back again. It's been a busy weekend in boxing. I know a lot of you might have been thinking, what happened last week? Last week was a madness. Technology, timing, energy, yeah, it was just low. So we had to just hold it back a bit. But we're back. Looking forward to talking boxing this week. Here with Sam. What's going on, brother?
It's coming on. It's coming on.
He's got some of that vim, yeah, that 3-line vim this afternoon. It's weird as well.
Man.
Given it was a weekday and it was like the 5 o'clock kickoff. Like it's mad. You could imagine, bro. People are gonna be having it large tonight, bro.
Yeah, man.
Like, you're planning
England beat the Germans.
Yeah.
What? It's
and whoever's not on a mad one, but like I was seeing on Twitter, people were getting on it from like 7 in the morning, bro. Like them people on GMTV, pints in front of them. I'm like, yo, by 5 o'clock. It must have been a myth to them. Life must have been a myth to them. But no, it's good, man. So just remember, people, those of you that are tuned in, as you can see on the graphics, remember to hit that subscribe button, subscribe to the channel, like the videos, and turn on that notification bell. Obviously, we're on the road to, like, I want to say something mad, but I'm going to be realistic. Let's see how quickly we can get to 1,500 subscribers. And then after 1,500, like, let's see what we can do to get a road to 10K. I'll say this much, though. It's going to have to take us putting in a bit more effort. So, yeah, consistency is going to be the key. I feel like now with boxing as well, like you've got the fight camp announcements, which will chop up. I feel like there's a lot more for us. So even like today, whilst there weren't that many UK cards, you know what I mean? The US cards were still packing. Lomachenko. Looking forward to talking that, bro. You know what I mean? His return with Nakatani. And then also don't forget Gervonta Tank Danis stepping up, going off against Barrios, coming in with a wavy backflips, bruv. This guy, that Davis is on it. So yeah, definitely let's get road to 1,500, and then from 1,500, let's go big. But brother, let's start. Lomachenko, the return, taking on Nakatani, common opponent to his the person who gave him his last defeat, Teofimo Lopez. What did you make on Lomachenko's performance?
I was expecting Lomachenko to perform, man. Like, I never expected him not to. I didn't expect anything less. I think, the only reason you've got to kind of question and put that out there was because he's off the L with Teofimo. But no, he did what he needed to do, man. I wouldn't be able to say you can read too much into it. I don't think there's going to be a rematch between him and Teofimo. If he's campaigning for it, great. But I don't think he'll. I don't think Teofimo is looking for it. So
you saw the interview with the Pops, though. His Pops and Bob Arum. They potentially, I would say, agreed a date, but it's looking like verbally they're discussing it.
Yeah, no.
Why do you think Lomachenko wouldn't want that fight?
No, I said I don't think Teofimo needed to go for it, man. You don't need to, because, like you said before, like there was no rematch clause in there. You know what? It's kind of like, I know it's different. We're talking domestic level, yeah, but it's kind of like Lyndon Arthur rematching Yard. Like, why is he going to rematch him?
Yeah, but I think it is different because, like you said, they didn't make either one of those guys undisputed. Whereas with Lopez and Lomachenko, I think like there was a lot more at stake. So I think that he should get. I think the rematch would be good. I hate the excuses. I don't buy into the excuses, and people might call me out. But I'm the same with Wilder. I was the same with Pacquiao. I don't like it. But like, I'm not going to say he looked different, but he did seem like he was like interested. Whereas like the Lopez fight, he never got warm. He never got started. Like his rhythm was totally off. So whilst I hate the excuses, maybe there's something in it. Or at very least, like Wilder, he's going to now have to show us something different. So yeah, bro, I think I like it. Maybe as well, like, I know this is going to be basic, but I like now that because he's speaking a lot more English, how he expresses himself is coming across better as well. So as a personality, like I was interested to hear what he was saying during fight week, just by the way he expresses himself and his thoughts on the game. I think they should get that rematch going on, bro. If I'm being honest, bro. I think Lopez needs it. I think he needs it. I think Lomachenko's still more of a credible opponent than Kambosos.
Yeah, no, I hear it. But I mean, I'm not too fussed. If it happens, obviously I'm gonna watch it. But
you're scared you're gonna have to back Lopez again. He might take that L.
No. I'm a back Lopez again. Always. I always thought I've seen the star in Lopez. Don't forget, like, I was backing Lopez ever since he beat Richard Comey, and that's when I realized he was serious. So yeah, man, I've got no reason not to doubt him. He's the real deal.
Yeah, no, I hear you on that. So yeah, no, I would like to see it. Look forward to it. Obviously we've got to chop it up again. Tank Davis, taking on Mario Barrios. What were your thoughts on that fight?
Yeah, man, did what he needed to do. I thought it was going to be quite tough. I didn't think I knew he'd get the start. I thought he'd get a late stoppage, just purely because of the kind of size difference and whatnot. But no, he did his thing. He handled him well. He showed that he's got it all, man. He can defend as well. He knows how to defend really well because my man was coming out at him, and he was just showing a lot of good defense work. Obviously, the theatrics are always going to be there when Floyd Mayweather's in town and talking to him. You know, I gotta be truthful. I just thought it was a bit corny, man. I can't even lie to you. I thought it was a bit corny, and I thought it was definitely for the cameras. But yeah, I think Tank had it in control. Did what he needed to do and delivered with a great knockout and onwards and upwards. But all this talk about him not fighting these other guys is just going to frustrate the shit out of me, to be honest, because he's good, but you want to see him up against Teofil. You want to see him up against all these guys to be able to step up and do what he needs to do.
I mean, I think that's the key thing, right? I think for me, working back on his competition, I think whilst the achievement of beating Barrios is like it's commendable, right? You'll clap. I think it doesn't get the appetite wet if he was to say he just beat Haney. You might throw Ryan Garcia into it, but if I'm being honest, the amount of time that Tank has been around, even though it was in a lower division, I wouldn't mind seeing him against, like you said, the Lomachenko or Lopez. I think that has to be where his energy lies. Or if he's saying he's not fighting those guys, then somehow he tries to make a push for the Taylor fight. Why not? Do you know what I mean? I'm not saying anything about win or lose.
I think just Taylor beats him, man.
Bruv, I mean, the thing with him is it's going to be about his resistance, bro. Because I think if he clocks Taylor, I think he's going down, bro.
Yeah.
The key thing is if, but I think like when it's all said and done, and if you take away like the sort of smoke around of it, like the guy hits hard, bro. Like he's got power. And as far as I can remember, he hasn't been knocked down. I mean, he hasn't been put down. And people might say, but who's he fought? But like he's fought guys, man. So he hasn't been put down. And I just think when he hits people, he's able to kind of detonate. And look, even Leo Santa Cruz, I mean, that was lights off. Do you know what I mean? Like he offed his light. So yeah, bro, I would love to see that fight. I think it's got a big energy. And outside of it all, bro, he is the biggest star within those divisions. From 140, 135, 130, there's not a bigger name than Tank Davis, bro.
Agreed.
So
agreed. Terence Crawford?
147.
Oh yeah, true. Yeah.
And even still, he's not a bigger name as Terence Crawford, bro. Because, bro, all right, look, take away even the fight, the atmosphere in that arena looked buzzing, bro. It looked like okay. It was like tonight, like obviously we've been in this pandemic for such a long time. So when you see filled arenas, you even start getting excited. Like, right, you know what? I want to start experiencing this. Like even Wembley looked lit. So it's the same for me with the State Arena. I think it's the State Arena. It looked lit. So and yeah, I just think with Davis, I think I wouldn't buy too much about this. Oh, he's only fighting guys on PBC. That may be the case, but this character is their tough competition. A guy who's fighting on the weekend, I don't think they'll make that fight. But Chris Colbert, I think Chris Colbert is a really good fighter, and I think he's being slept on. I don't think people are kind of like paying attention to him. He is a bit like, I'm going to say off key in a way. He's a bit of an Andrade personality. So that's probably why as well. But I think he's a good talent. Or if Tank Davis was to fight again, like who else is on this? So there's not much, to be fair. There isn't much. So yeah, let's see how that plans out. But yeah, bro, him personally, who would you like to see him fight next if you had the choice?
Joe, the Josh Taylor fight is tasty, man. That's a big fight. Josh Tayller, or do you know what? There's not really anyone else that I'm dying for Tank to fight, man. The only guy that I wanted him to pair up against was what's his name, Tevin Farmer. But obviously he's taken a few more L's now, so. And
that's the thing. You know what? Yeah, I think
Tevin Farmer's the only guy because I feel like Tevin with Tank, he can. I feel he's quite emotional when he's got shit on the line, especially when he's got beef with Tevin Farmer the way it is. So I feel like he could throw Tank off his game a little bit.
Yeah. I hear that, man. So yeah, bro. Yeah, so I think that's going to be big. And we've got a guest. I'm going to try and switch this out without looking too mad. And is it going to? Oh, he's messed me up. All right, let's get him in. Add to stream. Ade,
Yo,
what's going on, big man? You good?
not bad, brother. Not bad, man. Just the football got me kind of emotional. So I had to go and have a drink. I had to go and have a drink, calm down, and get ready for this.
You know what I mean? I've got to warm up the chest. Yeah, a bit of that. What's that? Stella.
No. I've got a little whiskey instead.
Nice.
We'll leave them Stella for them hardcore England fans.
Yeah, bro. I was saying to Sam, certain guys have been on it since the morning, since AM, like 7 a.m. Those guys are going to be rocking this evening, bro.
Bro, this is what they live for, innit? I mean, this country, obviously, you guys both live in this country is full on football. Everything else doesn't matter. All that matters over here is football, and this is what they've been waiting for, the old enemy in Germany, and just put them to the sword. So, well done, England. On to the next.
Well done, exactly. I think that's big for them. Bro, so listen, appreciate you jumping on. As always, you're always showing support, which is what we love. What have you been up to, man? Just tell us how things are. No Talk Sport. I swear I saw you on Sky as well, if not today, yesterday.
Yeah, lucky. Obviously, we're unfortunate right now that there is quite a bit of work for me, which is good. I was on Sky this morning looking at the England-Germany game, on Talk Sport throughout the week, BT Sports tomorrow as well. So it's been busy, man. It's been busy. And obviously, look, me and you spoke the other day, Coach. There's obviously a couple of things cooking in the kitchen, as they say as well. So we just hope that they taste nice when that cooking's done. But we just got to keep hustling. Obviously, I moved to my studio as well, which I'm very excited about. I'll get the keys tomorrow, which is good. Obviously, just to keep pushing, man. Not trying to be comfortable and stand still. This is the time where we're young, we're healthy, we can put a bit of work in. We can all do that. You, Sam, we can all kind of work now because this is the age where we can work. We don't want to be doing all this stuff in our 60s. So just trying to do as much as I can, but at the same time, enjoy it. Like, this is still supposed to be fun, right? It's a sport that we're talking about. We're not talking politics or fucking brain surgery. Let's still kind of enjoy it at the same time.
And until it gets to a cross promotional activity, then it feels like it's brain surgery, yeah.
Bro, this is, and it's crazy. Like, I don't know when this has obviously always been there, but obviously growing up as a boxing fan, I never realized about this cross promotional thing. It never even made sense to me. You just, they're gonna fight each other. So I'm trying to think of when did it kick in where I understood these broadcasters and cross promotion, because it never felt like it was the case. It always felt like boxers used to fight each other, especially over here in the UK. You always felt like we got Ben versus you. I mean, those were different promoters. Yeah. So it's kind of like, it's a weird one where it's almost become a thing now, and I can't stand it. And that's what holds the sports back. Like, as much as we love boxing, only when the big fights happen is boxing an elite sport. It should always be an elite sport, but it's never an elite sport because, we just don't get to see the fights, and that's the problem.
The frequency. And I think, to your point, it's in life, everything evolves, right? So I think it's definitely a part of boxing that has evolved. I don't agree with it. And I think it's down to finance, right? I think it's always about the money, who sees the value in themselves as against their opponent. But I do say to people, like, this isn't necessarily new. Even if you take the Four Kings, for example, and you look at when they fought each other and like that whole time period, as much as they stepped up to the plate, like, we have to remember, Sugar Ray Leonard called a press conference to retire when we all thought he was going to announce the fight with Marvin Hagler. So it kind of just recycles itself now. There's a lot more divas in society anyway. So it's frustrating. Hopefully, but it's the cash, bro. The big money. The big money is the big money that's there.
It's the big money, and I guess with these fighters now, and good luck to them as well, by the way, they're more wiser to what they can earn. I mean, we've all grown up, all of us, where fighters are suing their promoters and managers because the managers are taking the piss. Fighters now are a lot wiser to, like, okay, no, I can get this at the gate. If I am on the promotional banner behind, I can get this amount as well. I can get a slice of the pay-per-view. So big fights are taking longer to make now, mainly because fighters are more wiser to what they should be getting. So credit to the fighters. Like, we can never disrespect the fight. I mean, this is the hurt business. Get as much money as you can. Unfortunately for us as fight fans, we're probably not going to see the best fight the best for now, because it takes a lot more to get them in the ring. Because again, Devin Haney's got his own promotional company. How many 22-year-old boxers back in the day had their own promotional company. Do you know what I mean? So it's going to take longer to happen. But look, good luck to the fighters and what they're trying to do. It's just for us, it's a bit of a shame. But for the fighters, I'm happy they're eating.
Yeah, bro. So I want to ask you, because I know this weekend, for those of you that don't know, but I highly doubt it if they were on my platform, Addy was doing a live watch along on the weekend. Obviously, you studied the Lomachenko Nakatani fight. So I know your thoughts, but I would like to ask you, who would you like to see him next? Like, what direction do you think he should be going next? And that's Lomachenko.
Oh, it's got to be Teofimo. It's got to be the rematch. I mean, he's not here to kind of play around. What is he? 34, I think, Loma. Yeah. So at 34 or 33, there's no point trying to like warm up fights or let's do this, let's do that. Let's go for what most people think is the #1 division now, just because he's got all the belts around his waist. Go straight at it. I mean, in their first fight, I scored their first fight, yes, a win to Teofimo, but I had it 7-5 Teofimo. So it wasn't like it was a shutout or a blowout to the point where we don't want to see it again. If it happens again, we're all tuning in because we know it's an exciting fight. Look, I'm not silly to say this is the best Loma. It's not anymore. I've watched Loma since he turned pro, and he's not as fast. He's definitely not as he's not as elusive as he used to be. I mean, he can be touched now, but still, it's a very, very elite level fight. I mean, he's doing things that we've all watched the sport of boxing for a long time, and he's doing things to the point where I have to rewind and look and see what he did because I'm like, oh, how's he there? And then he's here, and then he's behind the guy again. And I'm like, well, what's going on? So it's exciting. I would love to see it again. I mean, I wonder how much money's in it. Bob Arum spoke about the fact that he's getting offers from abroad. I don't know if that's really true. I don't know if the people in the Middle East are really interested in Teofimo Lopez versus Loma, two small guys, as much as Bob says. Does it sell out an arena in the US? Possibly. Exactly. There you go. So there's not that much money in it. So Teofimo's going to want a lot of money. Loma obviously is going to want some money as well. They both are going to ask for big, big bucks, and it doesn't make big, big bucks. Yeah. I mean, Teofimo had to take a little hit on it. Loma had to take a hit in it last time. And I just don't know if it makes the kind of money to get both of them in the ring together. And again, that goes back to both of them knowing exactly what they think they're worth now. So if it isn't that, then obviously, look, there are still guys in the lightweight division. Honestly, I think he should be at 130. I think Loma's shown enough to know that there's at least 18 months, maybe 2 years left in Loma, barring no injuries.
Yeah, no, good point, Sam. I know you're ready to get in there, man.
Yeah, man, I'm trying to talk. Addy, what one? DAZN didn't give you the call. What happened? I was expecting to see you, man.
Hey, bro, there might be something going on, you know. I think the thing is, it's strange. Obviously, when Eddie announced that team, there was a couple of like immediate good ones, right? I mean, Andy Lee on any team's tick. Like, no one's going to complain about Andy Lee. I think Mike Costello, some people say he's the best voice in boxing. For me, growing up, it was Ian Dark and other ones as well. I thought they might go that route. I thought they might go a younger route, Paulie, maybe even try and entice Andre Ward or Timothy Bradley. We know DAZN's got those big checks, pay the big money to get some of the best over. So I was a bit surprised. I mean, I know Laura Woods. I work with her at TalkSport. She doesn't know boxing per se, but she's a really, really good presenter.
Yeah, no, she's big.
She's big. She's big in the game. She's big in the game. So no, man, we'll wait and see. We'll wait and see. I mean, as I said to Raps at the start, there's a couple of things cooking in the kitchen. You know, you never know. Never say never. But it's weird. There's obviously that conflict of interest as well because, you know, when I sit on this chair, I like to say what I want to say as well. If DAZN put on a poor card, I'll be the first to say that card was shit. And now, if I do something with them, I feel like it's going to be difficult. So there is that. Like I've got to toe the line a little bit as well. So we'll see what happens, man. But I love what I do now anyway. I'm lucky that I've got a couple of shows.
Exactly, and I think regardless, like, and because I know there's been a lot of complaints, people are always complaining, right? You can never make anybody happy. So the general feedback has been, you know, Bellew, this and that, and let's be fair, maybe even diversity, given the amount of fighters that are black or African or Caribbean descent. But I think for me, one of the things, bro, just taking all of that aside, when
sorry, Coach, you know what as well. Sorry to interrupt you, and you're very right as well about the lack of diversity. That it's not one of the small things. It's a big thing. There is a big lack of diversity. The biggest names in the world of boxing, a lot of them are black athletes. That's just fact. That's not me making it up. That's true. You look at an American, what Javante's doing. Look over here, what AJ, Dillian White, Chisora always puts bums on seats. But again, it goes to us free, and it goes to other channels to almost. I know for a fact that DAZN were looking and saying, okay, who are the black boxing voices over here? And they were hitting walls, because you think apart from Spence, I mean, there's none that are really in the big forefront, like right out there. They don't want to use Johnny Nelson, obviously. So we've got to get ourselves out there as well. Like, we are here, because there are a lot of platforms, but maybe we're not as widely thought of as we think we are. So we've got to push ourselves as well, because I know for a fact they were looking and thinking, all right, who are the Akam Barak in the UK? Who are those guys? And we're not readily available for them to see.
And that's why I think, even to my point, bro, is that, because I agree with you, I think the pool is actually quite small as well, especially when you talk about the names that are there, and probably that are kind of like, I don't want to say specialists, but seem to have a large percentage of their time focused on boxing. I think there's more platforms like myself. I mean, I won't say you, but other YouTube content creators. But yeah, it's that marketing, and that's something we need to focus on. But I think for you, whatever happens with DAZN, bro, you've still got a voice. You've still been able to work hard and build the platform, bro. So TalkSport, Sky, those are still wicked achievements. There's still, like, the sport is growing. Who knows what TalkSport might say in 6-7 months of my time? They might be like, you know what, we want to change up our boxing team. And so for me, I think with the DAZN thing, I know everyone's critical of it. I think, look, let's just see what happens. But yeah, for the future, we do hope that, you know, you keep growing anyway, bro, because you always give us time, which is appreciated. You know what I mean?
Bro, give you time. This is talking boxing. What am I doing? This is fun. This is what I love about what we do. Is that this ain't work. This is just us guys getting together and rapping about the sport. And this is not even me giving time. This is just having fun with it. Like, you know, it's not like I'm leaving my house or anything. You know, apart from maybe me sending you the Wi-Fi bill. This is easy. This is fun. But I don't know. But again, it shows like we've got to be consistent, because they might have looked at some of our channels and like, okay, that guy was good, but he done one video in 1 month. So it's like, again, you never know who's watching your shit. Honestly, you never know who's watching a live, and there's a couple of random names watching. You don't know. It's almost like you've always got to be making sure that you're doing your thing. Always got to be making sure. So what you and Sam are doing, being consistent with these things now, you don't know. You have no idea who's watching. And I don't know. I feel like there's more to come. It isn't just DAZN. Sky going to change up their stuff as well.
That's it.
Frank's going to have to change up his stuff to try and go. Frank's so stuck in like 20 years ago. Like, you think of what DAZN did in terms of even putting Maya Jama at the front. They'd have a heart attack if Frank did that. And that's how far behind he is.
I think Maya Jama was quite strategic, especially she gets good numbers. I mean, she's very popular. She's in with a cool crowd, cool with the millennials, like cool with the older crowd as well, and a BBC regular. So that was I felt that was it's a risk, but I think it's one worth taking, especially with like a digital platform like DAZN. Like, she started trending as soon as that was announced. So
exactly. I spoke to Kelly Sowland on Monday, and we were talking about KSI, because obviously KSI has got his own promotional company now. Yeah. KSI is going to put fights on like YouTubers versus Instagrammers and TikTokers, and that's quite a big thing. And even he was saying that every boxing event right now, you go to every boxing event and it's just typical middle-aged white men. Like 95% is that. And they haven't moved away from that for like 50 years. It's always been that. And there is no, they need to create another audience. They need to kind of spread it. So Maya Jama brings in just new eyes to the sport. There'll be some people that have never watched boxing, girls as well, I've never watched boxing. I was seeing Maya Jama, who's got like, 2.5 million Instagram followers. I'm like, oh, let me just check out what she's doing. And then that's one. And then it just grows and grows and grows. So, yeah, man, people have dissed the Maya Jama one. Oh, she doesn't know boxing. There's all this fixation about being an expert of boxing. Right. Like, you know, like,
we're the worst consumers and hypocrites. I mean, to that point with Maya Jama, I think, in my opinion, what her job is to do even is to be like the presenter more. Maybe ask the questions for us might seem a bit elementary. It's like to understand for the consumer, the wider consumer. And platforms like DAZN, even when you think about how they operate, they're not on terrestrial TV, they're not on Sky TV, they're an app, they're on a digital platform. So they want to engage with a different market. Yes, you know, guys like us, we will always kind of buy those platforms, right? Canelo's fighting Billy Joe, $199. All right, bash, let's get it. But for the newer crowd, they need to do something. And I'm in favor of it. I think it's better that, you know, like maybe it could have been someone within the sport, but I'm not against it. I think actually it shows that people are willing to risk their careers because she's on a trajectory. I don't care if you know Maya Gemma, you know she's probably got options. So for her to come onto this actually shows that boxing is still a good and attractive product. So I think we should see the positive. But
yeah, fact. They reached out to her. They went to her agent and begged her to do this. She doesn't need to do this. She could say right now, nah, I don't fancy it. She doesn't need to do it. They need her to do this. And so yeah, look, she brings, as you say, she brings new eyes to the sport. And sometimes with boxing, we have to dumb shit down a little bit. And I don't mean that to be disrespectful to Maya Gemma, but sometimes when you listen to some of the people, the technical breakdowns, I love it as a fan, and you guys will appreciate it. But the casual guy at home, like, the fuck are they talking about? There was all these fancy terms for a punch. The guy got an uppercut, and man would try and break it down about 20 different ways. It was just an uppercut. And sometimes you have to dumb stuff down. Like sometimes it can be too technical. And I think that's why they've got her. And she will ask the most obvious questions, but sometimes that's what we need to know if we're trying to attract an audience. My sister will watch it because of Maya Gemma. My sister's not going to watch it because of Andy Lee and Mike Costello. And that's who they're trying to get. They're trying to get my sister. They've already got us. They've got Sam and me and you money already. They ain't got my sister's money.
So I'm just going to quickly go to the chat. We've got big up Conrad Boxing, always supporting the platform. In reference to our Tank conversation, Tank versus Haney in the winner against Teofimo versus Loma, winner for Undisputed. Yeah, I think we'd all want to see that if we could make it happen, but it feels that will be very difficult just with the various platforms involved. Boxing and Banks. Eddie forgot our call for the new team. Trust me, he forgot about that. Big up Boxing Banks. Go and check out those ladies. Hit that subscribe button. Karma Serene. That lineup is sick. Is ick or is sick? I'm sure. I think that's what you mean. Yeah, I mean it's not bad. It's not bad, but yeah, we still, the jury's still out. And Conrad Boxing saying, I'm not sure if the new crowd are the people who pay for DAZN, given that like 75% of the fights on there mostly appeal to hardcores. I get that.
But it's going to be very different. And I think this is what people understand as well. It's not going to be your usual just turn up and watch boxing. They're going to almost, they might copy Triller a little bit and do things around it.
Exactly.
Like shows as well. Maya Gemma interviewing people in a more relaxed vibe, like the way she done an interview with AJ a couple of years ago. 3 or 4 years ago, and it caused a problem because it was Stormzy's missus at the time, ex at the time, and she's with the big boy AJ.
Exactly.
So they're going to do different things, man. You think they're going to pay her the money they're paying her just to sit there and talk boxing?
It's going to be different.
They're smart people.
Yeah, and sorry to cut you there, bro, but look again. Whatever we want to say, something that's innovative at the moment is Fight Camp. The way it's situated in Eddie Hearn's back garden, basically. But what does it allow them to do? It gives them full control of basically a lot of things, as long as they get council permits. So what are they doing now? $750 for a ticket. Let's look at I still don't even know why they're doing that. If I'm going to be honest, I think I'm more critical of the £750 tickets than this lineup, because I'm like, who are you attracting? But time will tell. And I don't think they would do this if they didn't believe that there's a market for it. So whatever they're planning, I look forward to seeing it.
That 750 is going to make sense, man.
No, 750 is madness. Let's be honest. 750 is madness. I said that if you're going to do that, you might as well do like 50 tickets for 1,000, but then do 200 tickets for £100. Give the people that are big boxing fans the opportunity to go and experience Fight Camp, and give a few tickets away at a decent price. 750 is just it's unbelievable. I know they said it includes transport and the dinner. You're gonna have to be taking all this sexy fish. You know what I mean?
Come on.
That's extortionate. But I also feel like I don't know what they're doing. I kind of wonder if the idea of a big gate, and look, gate receipt money is massive, but I kind of wonder with DAZN if it's all about now just making sure people just give that $1.99 or $5.99, and that's just how it's going to be. They're more interested in that money than they are from the gate receipt money. They just want to make sure they get you on that subscription and you pay. That's all it is now about signups.
Yeah, absolutely. Because that's where that's key revenue. No matter what, it's repetitive, and if it stays, however long it stays at $1.99, we know it won't be long. But I've done it. I probably don't even check it. You know, it just goes.
I've realised I've got that one. I've got a Fight TV one on my phone. I've got a Premier Sports one. You know what I mean? Right. It's mad how many I've got to try and keep up with the sport of boxing. It's crazy. I'm optimistic. I've said this many a time that Eddie coming into the sport, and it's not just like, I'm not a Matchroom fan per se, but Eddie come into the sport. I've watched it before Eddie, and I thought it was exciting. I thought he knows what he's doing. He can sell an Arab stand. He's just a very good salesman. He's young, he's hip, he's edgy. But I tell you who's really important to the sport, and I don't know if they realize their importance, IFL TV. And when I think of like IFL TV, a huge, like the amount of times I used to just literally, after every boxing event, just quickly refresh for IFL TV for an interview. Exactly. I don't know if Coogan knows his value at a time. Like Coogan was talking to Eddie and saying, how are you going to keep the numbers of people or switch those people from watching Sky to watching the DAZN? And I was thinking, Coogan, you are the reason they're going to get those people. Because he's massive in what he does.
Yeah, Coogan's instrumental to Eddie Hearn as well. That's a big PR. That was a big PR tool to Eddie Hearn, because before he was like this spoiled kid whose dad's been a multi-millionaire, he grew up this, and now people got to see the real kind of personal side. It's almost like you feel you're eavesdropping on a conversation on the train with those two when they're talking. So that was, I think that was big over the years as well.
100%. You watching Eddie, and Eddie tries to bring out his personality in Sky now, but at the time he couldn't. It's like he didn't know if that was accepted. So you're right. He would be super polished when he's doing the Sky interviews, and it's almost like he would loosen his top button to then do the Coogan interviews, and he used to love it. And he used to swear, say what he wants, and then we were like, okay, this guy's kind of fun. This guy's a bit of a character, and it just went from there. And that's Coogan with everyone in boxing. Everyone that interviews for Sky, and then they interview Coogan. It's almost like, oh, thank God. The Coogan gives you the best stuff. So I think Coogan's instrumental. Like hugely instrumental to the growth of Matchroom, hugely.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, you hit the nail on the head there in terms of their conversations. I mean, you go in the chats, and how frequently do you say, "Got my cup of tea"? They got the cup of tea, and people are just sitting down in the toilet. And it is that, I think, because of Eddie Hearn's personality, like no matter what, even with Frank Warren, it doesn't translate the same. You know what you were saying about Eve? When Warren's on BT and he's on IFL, it's kind of like the same. It's quite competitive, but with Hearn, there is a clear difference. And even though Coogan doesn't need to push like the hard questions you might ask, Eddie Hearn does give out quite a lot. Even if you have to read between the lines, I think he still reveals a lot of information in those interviews. So I feel
even that Coogan that people do, and I do it sometimes. Like, come on, man, ask that question. 90% of the casuals don't give a fuck about those questions. That's it. Like, as much as I want them, like, oh, Coogan asked about the drug question, him failing a PED test, and all this, all that. You got to understand where Coogan's in a situation where, and look, now maybe because I speak to boxers, he's in a situation where this is his job. This is what put foods on the table for his wife and kids and pays the mortgage. Why risk that to appease 30 Dave fans in the chat stand? Yeah, Dave from Rochester's asking, oh, Coogan, you're awake, you didn't ask that question.
Exactly.
Like,
you're still going to watch my channel.
You're still going to watch my channel. This is my business. Why am I going to risk sort of, I don't know, just damaging bridges, all this that I built just to ask one risky question? There's no point. If Coogan, do what you're doing. Sometimes I'm not the biggest fan of his interviews, but man built up a channel that's nearly got 1 million subscribers. You just can't fuck with that. That's madness. And
that's what I say about respect. Like, I think in this game, and I can say it for myself, like when you're at press conferences, like, and even if I felt drafted to get into their position, but when you're at a press conference and you're really fighting for interviews, I always say to people, like, you don't really know, like, how not only intimidating it is, like, how tough it is. Like, and when everyone's asking, you ask the most difficult questions, you've got maybe 5 to 8 minutes, depending, sometimes less, to try and build a relationship with that fighter, to then not just get an interview today, to try and get an interview in the future. And as you say, trying to appease somebody that's not even paying you. Yeah, I kind of don't agree with it. Be free on your own platform, but I think, not very few people would ask Dillian Whyte about his PED to his face. Like, no one's. How many people are going to do that? Let's be real.
You must be crazy. You must be, not only that, but any of them, right? Tyson Fury in his situation, and Anthony Joshua and the TUE exemption. No one's asking these questions. Like,
Wilder.
What for? Why am I going to risk all that? What? You must be crazy.
So it's been calm. But I suppose this weekend, I mean, it's relatively quiet. But one fighter who I was talking about earlier, a guy called Chris Colbert, PBC fighter, Primetime Chicken, that's his nickname. I don't know if you heard about that fight. He was due to fight Gamboa. Obviously, Gamboa pulled out injured or so have you. Now he's got a last-minute replacement. Any thoughts on that fight or that matchup?
You know, the thing is, for Chris Colbert, and it's a shame that he's not fighting Gamboa, just because we've seen Gamboa in recently with Devin Haney, and we've seen him in with Tank Davis in the last, year and a half. It's almost, it would have been a good gauge to see where he is. Because everyone obviously can compare, because every time we write Gamboa, for some reason Gamboa seems to be able to step up against these big guys. I have no idea how he does it. He just seems always to rise to the occasion. So it's disappointing that Chris hasn't got a chance against Gamboa. So we can then say, okay, look how you dealt with Gamboa. So he can then get in the mix in these weight divisions that are super exciting right now. I don't know too much about his opponent, and he will be upset about the opponent, but it's just a case of getting a win. You know, this is one of those banana skins where you think, I ain't Gamboa, but just get the win, get the W, and move on and see if you can get another fight before the end of the year, especially if he comes through unscathed. But massive shame that it's not Gamboa, just because then people would have made the comparison and say, oh, look, Tank recently fought Gamboa and Devin fought Gamboa, and they struggled in this and that, and look what Chris did. So disappointing for him. But again, in this sport, just get that W. No matter how you get it, just get it and then move on.
Exactly. And I do want to talk about last weekend's fight. Actually, we spoke about most of the fights, so the ones we haven't, I'll bring you in for it. I'll let you guys chop it up. Lubin versus Rosario. That fight took place last weekend. What was your thoughts on that, bro? You and Sam.
I've always liked his fighting style, to be fair. I've always thought he's an exciting fighter, and how he trains, I've always liked him. But in terms of the last fight he had before that, I'm not sure. I think it was against Daniel Jacobs. I'm not sure. That was
Rosario lost to Charlo.
Yeah, we lost to Charlo. Oh, okay. I think didn't he fight against didn't he have a fight with Jacobs though at some point?
Nah. He had a fight against J-Rock, beat J-Rock, and then went on to fight Charlo.
Yes. Yes. Sorry. Yes. Yeah. Sorry. Apologies. No, that was I've always liked his style, but that stop was mad. That was kind of like what? Should I say? You know, this also makes you want to watch boxing. You know?
Yeah,
just exciting.
Yeah, you know what it is about Erickson Lubin. Like, I've liked Lubin for a long time. Obviously, his career kind of got halted a little bit in the way in which he got stopped by Jamel Charlo. Look, there's no shame. When Jamel Charlo cracks you like that, you're going down. I think Jamel Charlo is the best out of the Charlos. I've always thought that, even though he's the one that's lost and Jamal hasn't. I thought Jamel Charlo is just, for me, he's the angrier one. He's almost got the one that's got the killer instinct in them, whereas Jamal Charlo almost seems to have softened and tamed a little bit. I thought it was a good performance. I thought for aside from about a minute in the fourth round, it's a fight that I thought he controlled. I thought Erickson Lubin looks a bit bigger now, looks a bit thicker. I always thought he looked a bit small at 154, but now he looks like he's the same size as them because Rosario's quite big. And I thought it was a good performance. This is a career best win. I mean, this is a Rosario that's only lost recently, as you say, to Jamel Charlo. You know what I mean? I mean, look at the way in which he beat up J-Rock. And J-Rock, I like J-Rock. J-Rock's a solid 154-pound campaigner. You just wonder what's going to happen next now with Lubin. He's not going to fight Jamel Charlo next. Unless Castano can cause the upset and beat Jamel Charlo, then that's the only way that's going to happen. But I like Lubin. I like his training set up. Look, he's got a situation where if he gets cracked, he kind of does the wobbling leg thing, a bit like Amir Khan and Anthony Joshua. When they get hit, their legs kind of go a bit funny and they buckle. That's just him. They're not going to be able to sort that. So it's a case of, can they improve on his defenses? Can they improve on his output so that he doesn't get touched? But aside from that, for me, he's now kind of put himself in a position where he's a top 4, 154-pounder. The only problem is the number one in the division beat him 3 fights ago. So he's going to have to wait and see how that plays out. Maybe Jamel Charlo goes to 160. There is a lot of talk about Jamel Charlo going to 160 after this fight. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, no, I mean, just to follow on from that, I think, it is hard for Lubin. I think, no matter what, I think the Charlo loss was quite, not even convincing, but it was quite devastating in terms of the punch that connected and how he kind of dropped. Even in the rematch, like, you got to think he's going to have that mental sort of challenge. And he's going to have to do a lot. And I think, back to your point, Charlo he's an elite fighter. I mean, he's not really on the pound for pound. I think that's more to do with personalities. But he's up there, and he is, for me, I give him a lot of credit for the Tony Harrison comeback, because whilst it was close, I think he came back and did what went wrong and corrected it. So, yeah, I think for Lubin, I look forward to seeing what he does, but I think he might drift. And I say that to say, like, I feel like he's the type of guy. If Spence beats Pacquiao and says I want to go to 154, I feel like Lubin's the type of guy he's gonna have to that might be the fight, because who really can Lubin fight, especially should Charlo beat Castagna? Yeah,
it's interesting you say that about the Charlos, by the way. But you know, like because both of them really should be chasing like a top 10 pound for pound status. But I feel like both of them in the last sort of 2 years, like I was super excited about the Charlos maybe about 3-4 years ago. Like the way just they were, their aggression and everything. But I feel like Jamal Charlo in that fight with Korobov and then the fight with Lomachenko maybe took a bit of a hit. And Jamel obviously losing to Tony Harrison took a bit of a hit as well. So their stock's gone down just a little bit, both of them. It's strange. But I'm with you as well about Spence versus Lubin. And if I'm Spence, Lubin's the one I'm looking at, because again, he's not the biggest 154 pounder, and he can be cracked. We've seen him; he can be cracked. So that'll be interesting. I like that as a matchup. I really do. I think that's a fantastic. That's a fantastic invitation to 154 pounds for Spence. Both of them look at it as a winnable fight, because Lubin's really good. When he lets his hands go, has every punch in the book. I like him a lot.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. Before we go, I do want to touch, and we might as well do it because we're close to July, so we're in the countdown. Wilder or Fury versus Wilder, got to get it right. Fury versus Wilder 3. We are starting to see more footage of Deontay Wilder though, and as much as he seems to be struggling to bench press, then walking into the pillars. Like, are we impressed? Are we getting excited with what we're seeing from Wilder in terms of the build-up for this fight? To either of you.
Sam, you can go first, Sam.
Okay. You know what? I am getting excited, especially as Deontay Wilder didn't say anything at the press conference. So it kind of gives you that. As much as it does suck for us media people that want to ask questions and hear things, it's like, you're kind of more drawn to him and you want to see what he does. I think what I've been seeing him under with him under Malik Scott, I think he's looking good. He's looking better. But I think in 8-10 weeks, you're not going to change when you get hit and when you're in the kind of survival mode, you're going to go back to what Wilder knows, and that's the one punch bang, and that's the looking for that big knockout. But I am very optimistic for Wilder. I do think Wilder will get Fury. I do think he'll stop Fury. I've got a very, very I've got a lot of support for Wilder. I just feel that there's an upset in the air with this fight, especially how the spanner was in the work with how, look, last time he was on the platform, Maddie was saying, look, it's happening. He's doing the documentary of Bella and whatnot. And now, now we've got this happening in July 24. So in my head, I think Wilder here to cause an upset. And I would love to see a spanner in the works.
Interesting. I personally haven't seen anything in terms of Wilder being any better a boxer than he was before with his previous training setup, and like you're not going to change Wilder. Wilder, as much as we like Wilder, we don't like him for his boxing ability. I've never thought Wilder was a great boxer. He's got maybe a 1-2. That's it. That's all he's got, a 1-2. His feet cross over. He windmills when he tries and gets the stoppage. He can't bench for anything. I think I can actually bench a bit more than Wilder. I was actually trying to calculate the weight, and I was like, wait a minute, I swear I've done more than that in the gym. Look, there's this weird kind of thing in the air when it comes to this fight. There's this unknown factor, isn't it? I can't wait for it. As much as Sam's right, I was obviously upset when the AJ Fury thing fell through. My upset stopped as soon as I saw the first press conference. I was like, okay, I'm sold. Take my money now for Fury Wilder. Look, I personally think Fury's going to beat him again. I just think Fury's I don't know how he's so good, because you look at him and you think, how? Like, he's got these bent legs, he's got a belly, and you're like, what? But there's a supreme confidence with him. And look, I feel like we over here understand the gypsy thing more than the Americans do, about how tough these gypsies are. Like, we've all been around them. Like, me growing up, it's almost like you see a caravan site, you don't go over there. You leave them. You leave them be. And I don't think that's over in America. I'm not quite sure. I stand to be corrected, but I don't know if they understand that like we do. Them men are built differently. Fighting is in their blood. They fight to solve a problem. They will all meet up and have a scrap. And Fury's got that ingrained. We know he's got that because his dad, Peter, used to do, and his granddad used to fight. It's just how they are. And I just feel like Fury's it's just a different level. And I'm a bigger AJ fan. And I said I thought AJ's going to lose to Fury, and that was embarrassing because I then had to go and see AJ a couple of days later. But I've got to say how it is, and I just don't think he beat Fury, man. I really don't. Deontay Wilder, at his most confident, at his most brash and confident, couldn't beat the worst Fury I've seen in years in the first fight they had. And that was the most confident Deontay Wilder I've seen. Brash. I'm knocking everyone out and laughing and joking, going to Ireland, giving Fury his belt to hold. That guy couldn't beat him. So I feel like you're not beating this confident, brash Fury now. It's not for me.
I mean, just to follow on from that, and everyone's going to say, I'll say it quickly. I still think Fury wins, but I want Wilder to win. I've got to say on that front. With the fight, though, and I think my initial question of being excited, I am a bit gassed. And I think, like you all said, I'm getting excited for this fight. Not just the press conference. I think there's little things we're seeing him do where I feel like, you know what, a win for Wilder, and obviously he wants the belt back, but if he can even finish this fight on his feet, again, 12 rounders like the first one, he's lost. It's, in boxing, if it's not 10-2, typically it's 7-5, you know what I mean? So it's like, and it's a relatively close fight. I still think that bodes in his favor because in a weird way, whilst beating Fury is the end goal, actually, I think not getting destroyed by Fury is very important as well, because I think that kind of holds his stock afterwards. It's going to be a dangerous fighter without a belt. And even though you would think people will be rushing to fight him, I don't think they will. I truly don't think they will. So I think if he can lose on points, I think that's respectable for him. But I think, there's just too much to overcome. And with Fury, his mindset, his ability, it's tough. And he just ticks the boxes over Wilder, if I'm being frank.
Yeah, Fury must look like a fighter. If you are a boxer coming up, you must look at Fury and think, let me get in the ring with him. I'll show him. Because it doesn't look like what he actually is. Even watching his fights, sometimes you feel like, they're boring. But then you are looking at a guy that is 19.5 stone, that genuinely, no bullshit here, let's not exaggerate, moves around like a guy that's 16 stone.
I'm telling you.
And not only that, but he has a gas tank. You watch Fury, and it's not like, with AJ, and again, this is not discrediting AJ because you know how much I like AJ, but AJ, you actually see the part where it's tired. I can physically see it, like, AJ a bit tired now. Yes. I don't think I've ever seen Fury tired. Yeah. He does that thing where he wipes his face and he's like, I've never seen this man like, I've never seen, Fury needs to get his second win. I've never said that in a Fury fight, Fury looks like he needs his second. And it doesn't make sense. Yeah. Honestly, it doesn't make sense. He's an incredible, and he's not an athlete.
Yeah.
He's not like, this man's not an athlete.
If I could say, sorry to say, to that point about him not getting tired, I think that's what's crazy with Fury as well, because not only does he, in the last fight, he walked him down, you could argue, but in the first one, he was on the back foot, he was fidgeting, he was being elusive, and he doesn't tire doing that. And that's what I think with Fury, it's like, it's mad. Like, he doesn't even tire when guys are kind of on their cycle, they have a bit of resting period. Not really. Now, yes, Wilder clocked him twice, but even if we're being honest, obviously there's still 10 rounds for Wilder. But after those knockdowns, Fury didn't look out of it. He wasn't bad on ice after any of those two knockdowns. So, yeah, I mean, like I said, I want Wilder to do it, but I think it's going to be tough for him.
And it's not like Fury's scared of fighting in someone's backyard as well. It means nothing to him. I mean, honestly, his mindset it's a bit scary, but we all know Wilder's got that power, and we keep saying that. And it's a shame just to say like someone like Wilder that's only got a puncher's chance, but he genuinely only has a puncher's chance here. And even if he does connect, I just can't see Fury being knocked out. It's strange. Like Fury's got this.
I will follow you. I just think if Wilder can connect the right one, I think they can still be like
I actually believe that I believe Fury could knock Wilder out.
I agree.
Yeah, of course.
I think that, but I think, like for me, I always look back. I think my reference point will always be the Povetkin Dillian White. Like, I just think if he can put something together, and just get that right opening, I think he could still topple him. Not just the punch. I'm talking about the positioning of his feet, the turning of his torso, so the power's really big. It's like that Super Saiyan or whatever those guys call it. It has to be that one moment where everything comes together. That's what I think it will be for Fury and Wilder. But let's see. Guys, I'm just going to say, yes, big up Boxing Banks. They said tell DAZN they're here. DAZN Boxing and Banks are looking out.
Everyone wants that DAZN money, boy. Everyone wants that DAZN money.
Michael Wilson, evening people. Yes, big up yourself, Michael Wilson. Appreciate the chat. Guys, please remember to subscribe, hit that notification bell, and share the content. So, guys, listen, it's been a pleasure speaking with you this evening, as always. Before we go, Ade, do you want to shout out your platforms? Let them know where they can find you on the underground and the mainstream.
Yeah, underground, my own channel now, obviously called Ade on the Depot, just because we are going to try the next month or so to mix it up. Not moving away from boxing, but just trying to interview people from different walks of life and just see what they're about. So that's kind of the new idea for the channel. So make sure you do subscribe to the channel. It's some fun stuff. We've got some good ideas coming up. Obviously, like I said at the top, we are moving to our own studio now, which I'm very excited about. Just to see what happens with that. I'm excited about it. Obviously, I'm going to get you guys on as well. And Raps, we've spoken about it, coming down and doing the live watch-alongs. Just something to grow the community. Do you know what I mean? Again, it goes back to that kind of Joe Rogan thing where he has people do the live watch-alongs and all their platforms now are big. Because it's just, again, we're sharing. And that's why I jump on. Like, I went on Undefeated podcast yesterday. I went to and jumped on that. It's like jumping on everyone's to grow everything. Yeah. So that's the underground stuff. The commercial stuff, the stuff that pays the bills. TalkSport tomorrow. I'm on live. I'm on TalkSport at 7:00 with Emil Heskey, which should be fun. Looking forward to that. Obviously, reacting to what happened with England. On Thursday, I'm with Jamie O'Hara on TalkSport. And then you got little bits and bobs everywhere, man. So we're just trying to, again, look, money's out there. I'm trying to make sure I get all of it. I am playing. If there's money available, we're trying to get all that money.
There's enough for everybody. Big up Maestro A Boxing. He says salute Ade. Big up. You see, it's like I was saying.
Is Maestro the guy in America?
But I don't know. But that's what I mean. When you invite me onto your platform, like, again, it's that cross networking. Like, see, people didn't like they thought I was all right. So some of your subscribers became my subscribers. You know.
Yeah, I see. You got Karma in there as well.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
That's what you did.
That's what we're going to do, man. Sorry, bro. You know, I'm trying to get a bit of that
too. Yeah, I do it. Look, see Maestro from the Bronx. Okay,
NYC fan, yes.
And you know how funny it is? Because I saw Maestro on the Undefeated podcast.
See what I'm saying?
That's what I'm trying to say. It all works. And they got him on, he was speaking, and that's what it works.
Yeah, he said it's finally on vacation. Vacay in Virginia Beach. Nice. Enjoy it. I hope you got a nice. You're sipping on something nice as well. So enjoy that. But yeah, Sam. Before we go, do you want to shout out your socials?
Yeah, no. Hit me up at SDWO TV. Raps on TV. Yeah, man. Just talking all things boxing.
Absolutely. And guys, appreciate that, Kojo. Raps on TV. Hit us up on Instagram. Do follow us on Twitter and YouTube. That subscribe button. We need you to be hitting it, let it detonate, man. But as always, pleasure chatting to the guys here. Ade, big up yourself. Good luck tomorrow. I'm sure it's going to be a fun-packed show. To everybody else, peace. We're out.
Peace and love, people.
Peace.